Assalamualaikum and good evening to Dr. Julaida and fellow friends. Today our group will present on topic railway construction. Our group consists of three members. First, Muhammad Isyraq Syafi. Next one is Ahmad Azim. And lastly, Muhammad Azim. What is railway? First and foremost, we have to know definition of railway. Railway defined as a means of transport on vehicles which run on tracks. Railway is one of the important and very cost-effective modes of commuting and good carriage over long as well as short distance. Since the system runs on metal rail and wheels, it has an inherent benefit of lesser frictional resistance which helps attach more load in terms of carriage. Then, this system is known as train. Usually, trains are powered by an engine locomotive running on electricity or on diesel. Rail transport is also one of the fastest modes of land transport. The next section is about construction process. The first stage is underground work. Underground start with installing extensive drainage channels and duct banks. These both components run in entire length of corridor. Duct system carries 100 miles of conduit for communications, train control purpose and traction electrification system. Also, underground contain 100 foundation needed to support the overhead catenary system poles which are part of electric power system for rail line. For the second stage is about creating a level surface. In this step, the purpose is to filling in the uneven valleys. The works start with cuts and high points of the earth with small crushed rock called subballast. The work is done to create an impermeable surface that directs water to the drainage channel. After that, 12-inch layer of ballast or larger crushed rock is then placed and roller compacted above the subballast together. In result, this layer will provide a uniform foundation for track. The third stage is about installing concrete ties and steel rails. The track itself is made up of evenly spaced concrete rail ties and continuously welded steel rails. The concrete ties are placed on top of the ballast by using machine called concrete tie handler and spacer. The function of this machine is to easily and efficiently space the ties 6 at a time exactly 30 inches apart. After that, a pair of steel rails is brought in and welded together on site to make one continuous smooth riding surface. This steel rails is placed on top of concrete ties and then permanently connected together using E-clips. E-clips is used to hold the two rails onto each concrete ties. The purpose of this stage is to restrain the track system. Once the rails and ties are in place, it gets flooded with more ballast. Covering the tracks with ballast help restrain track system. This is to ensure there are no movement under traffic or changes in temperature. Afterwards, the marks for tamping machine is brought in to adjust horizontal alignment and elevation of the track to its final position. In the final stage, an electric power system is installed made up of the poles, OCS conductor cabling and traction power substations. Steel poles are installed onto each of these foundations. Each of the pole is installed using cranes, then a set team of electrical experts install the power distribution wiring onto the poles. Any construction work will face some challenge during completion work. The first challenge is on financial issues. Overall cost for railway construction is one of the highest compared to any other modes of transport construction. The expenses including construction, maintenance, overhead and utility costs. The second challenge is railway construction work will cause heavy traffic congestion. For instance, MRT construction in Shah Alam has caused heavy traffic congestion almost every day. The next one is slope stability problem. During construction phase, stability of slope is hard to control due to the vibration caused by machinery. Deep rotational failure and rock falls is some of the incidents causing slope stability problem. The fourth issue faced in railway construction is track problems. There are many track problems that labour usually face such as ballast degradation, buckling of tracks, and settlement issues. Lastly, drainage and underground problem is another example of challenge labour must face during the construction work. Extreme weather such as heavy rain is the contributed factor to drainage problems because it will cause flooding and block drain.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Hazim bin Ahmad Zaidi, and I will be presenting the materials and equipment, the benefits and also the maintenance for railway construction. So the first one is the materials and equipment. The first equipment that is used for railway construction is the track lifting machine. This machine is used to lift, line and slew the tracks or the entire track panels for new placement and also for repairing works. The rail track lifting car is used for the material handling for rail during construction and also during maintenance operation. The benefits of this machine is that it is strong, durable, silent in operation, and it is easy to transport and position. Next is the track laying machine. The long rail track layer, it uses a single slipper continuous operation. This machine combines both equipment for both rail laying and slipper laying. This hauling of the machine uses combined control and hauling of track hauling, and it consists of 6 driving axles. The machine hauling, crane running, operating mechanisms of main car and crane, all of them adopt a hydraulic driving system. The machine is comprised of track, rail tractor, main car, flat cars, cranes, hydraulic system and an electric control system. The last machine is the ballast wagon. The ballast wagon is a machine that delivers the ballast gravel, also known as the aggregates. The ballast wagons are designed to lay ballast gravel for new or existing railway by discharge the system to both sides of the rail. These wagons can be manufactured to your specific requirements. These machines can operate to speed 120 km per hour and have the capacity of 43 cubic meters. Next, I will be presenting the materials for rail construction. The materials that are used for rail construction is hot rail steel with a profile of an asymmetrical rounded I-beam. Unlike some others railway, they use iron and steel. It is very important for railway to use materials like hot rail steel because railway rails are subject to very high stresses and have to be made of very high quality steel alloy. The changes of material took many decades to improve the quality of the materials, including the change from iron to steel. It is important to choose the highest quality of material for railway because the stronger the rails and the rest of the track work, the heavier and faster the trains that the track can carry. Other components of the railway tracks include the bulkhead rail, groove rail, flat bottom rail, bridge rail and also barlow rail. Next is the benefits of the railway. As we all know, the railway can give many benefits either to the users or the country itself. The advantage of the railway that can give are: first is high transportation capacity. This can be achieved by a locomotive can therefore pull a greater load than a road vehicle by applying the same tractive effort. Also, a train is formed of many vehicles, thus allowing it to increase or alter its transporting capacity according to the demand. For a simple example is, in order to transport several hundred passengers, a train of length between 280 and 300 meter is only needed. Next is high-speed travel. Railway can give the benefit of high-speed travel because of technical advance in the areas of rolling stock, and the track allow a train to move safely on a straight track of good rolling conditions at running speed at maximum of 300 km per hour. Next is the benefits. Next benefits of railway is the travel safety. The safety in train operation and train movement is generally not affected by extreme weather conditions, whether it is fog, snow, ice, strong winds, or cancellation of scheduled services due to weather conditions is rarely happen or needed in railway operation. The last benefit is that railway occupies a small space. A double standard gauge track occupies a space of about 1/3 of that of a two-way highway with 3 lanes per direction. Indicatively, for 1 km of high-speed railway line, 3.2 hectares of land are needed for the same amount of highway length, 9.3 hectares of land. Next, I will be present the maintenance for railway construction. The railway track is loaded with dynamic railway vehicles and always work in the exposed natural environment, which can cause abrasion, deformation, damage of relevant parts, and change of geometry size to the railway construction. Therefore, it is very necessary to carry out regular maintenance in order to ensure the quality of the railway track and the integrity of the equipment. In general, maintenance of railway track is to take periodic repairing and periodic maintenance. Some of the railway maintenance that I use for railway is rail grinding. The rail grinding consists of grinding machines that travel along the track that are equipped with grinding stones, which are rotating stones or stones oscillating longitudinally to abrade the surface of rail, or in other words, to smooth the surface of the rail. Next is rail replacement. This may be conducted to upgrade the track to a higher gauge rail or to replace the same gauge rail due to defects, wear, or derailment damage. From time to time, the railway track can also be damaged due to defects and also the wear and tear that is caused by the train or the locomotives. Next is the tamping. The tamping is conducted in order to correct longitudinal profile, cross level, and alignment of the track. A number of sleepers at a time are lifted to the correct level with vibrating tamping tines inserted into the ballast. Track stabilization. Track stabilization is also one of the railway maintenance. The track stabilization use the method of vibrating the track in the lateral direction with a vertical load to give control settlement. Tamping and compacting ballast underneath sleepers reduce the lateral resistance of the track. The aim for track stabilization is to restore the lateral resistance to the original level. Okay, next is the ballast injection. The ballast injection, or in other words, stone blowing, is conducted in order to correct the longitudinal profile. This process introduces additional stones to the surface of the existing ballast bed, which is at the both sides of the railway, while leaving the stable compact ballast bed undisturbed. Lastly is the slipper replacement. In almost all types of slipper defects, the remedial action is not possible and the slipper requires replacement. Defective slippers can result in the rail losing the correct gauge, which can cause the rolling stock derailments. I will pass to Azim to continue for his points.
Next, I will show about the standard and regulation. For the standard, the main purposes of establishing the railway technical standards. First, ensuring safety. Next is maintaining of railway network and ensuring of railway transport characteristic. Number 3 is ensuring of convenience for users. Number 4, environmental countermeasures. And number 5, reduction of production costs. Next is the kinds of railway technical standards. First is compulsory standards. The government and national railways of individual countries have established compulsory technical standards on railway construction operation for such purposes as ensuring of railway safety and maintaining of railway networks. For the safety, it consists of safety of passengers, general public and railway employees. Policies, maintenance of network, ensuring of railway characteristic, and ensuring of convenience of railway users, stable transport, enhancement of service quality and comfort. Lastly, environmental countermeasure, which is noise prevention. Next is the design standard which complement the compulsory standards. First is concrete structures, steel and composite structures, earth structures, basic structures and soil pressure resisting structures, shield tunnel, steel concrete composite structures, asymmetric design, earth structures for maintenance-free tracks. Next, regulation. Number 1, Peninsular Malaysia. All railway functions of the Department of Railways have been taken over by the Commission from 31st January 2011. The following are some of the key functions. Number 1, submission and verification of the railway scheme to the Minister in charge. Number 2, issuance of railway license. Number 3, approval for the opening of railway lines or roads. Number 4, periodic inspection. Number 5, project monitoring. And number 6, railway protection zone. Next, the Commission has also been vested with the followings. Number 1, planning power. Establishing a master plan to ensure a comprehensive, integrated, and sustainable infrastructure development. Number 2, regulatory power. Monitoring and regulating standard of performance of the industry's operators through licensing. Number 3, enforcement power. Encompassing powers to audit, investigate, compound, suspend, or revoke operators' licenses. Additionally, to seize and option vehicles for offences relating to the illegal use of vehicles. Next, the Land Public Transport Act, which is LPTA, provides that any person who intends to construct a railway would need to make an application and deposit a railway scheme that contains the following scope: the type and system of the proposed railway, the general roads, the safety aspects, and the proposed fare of the proposed railway system. Under the LPTA, constructing railways without ministerial approval or a license is an offence, with penalties of up to 500,000 ringgit or 3 years imprisonment or maybe both. Vocational license for train drivers and publishing timetables and fares are also mandatory requirements under the LPTA. Number 2, East Malaysia. The applicable legislation for rail in East Malaysia is the Railway Ordinance 1914 and the Railway Tarif Book Rules 1979. The Railway Ordinance only specifies the rules relating to the operation of railway but do not specify any licensing requirement for constructing a railway. The Railways Act 1991 unfortunately specifically excludes Sabah Railway while the LPTA only applies in Peninsular Malaysia. Currently, the Commercial Vehicles Licensing Board, Department of Railways and the Ministry of Tourism continue to exercise their respective powers in the state of Sabah and Sarawak regarding rail transportation in East Malaysia. Next, I will explain about the safety and health. In addition to the duties set out within the regulation and associated approved code of practice, all organizations need to first, provide design information. Number 2, follow a robust design process. Number 3, communicate hazards in design. Number 4, cooperate and coordinate with each other. Number 5, participate in engineering safety. Number 6, management process. And number 7, ensure management of temporary works design. Next, designers should review their design with the following factors in mind. Number 1, achieving a significant contribution to the reduction of risk by taking care of the consideration of hazards at the earliest opportunity, especially during planning, construction, operation, maintenance, and subsequent demolitions. Number 2, hazards that may create risks to the construction personnel engaged in executing the design. Number 3, identifying and eliminating reducing hazards which may create risks to users of the design and constructed works. Number 4, undertaking design, interdisciplinary reviews and interdisciplinary checks. Number 5, creating documentation showing how risk has been mitigated or where residual risks remain. Next, I will show about the sustainable consideration for the railway construction. They have a few methods to make railway sustainable. Number 1, an accessible railway. Next, providing end-to-end journey. Number 3, being an employer of choice. Number 4, reducing the industry's environmental impact. Number 5, having a positive social impact. And number 6, supporting the economy. Number 7, optimizing the railway. And lastly, being transparent. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.